Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us, our Rabell Realty Group podcast. Kristen Rabell.
Rebecca Johnson.
Yay, we're back. Feels like a long time, even though it was just last week.
Was it?
I think it was a long weekend for me. Had some fun, went to the Rosé Gala and also the Beyond Bourbon events. So lots of great events. There were lots of others this week and weekend. And yes, I was at two of them. So they were fun. Saw lots of great people. Didn't take a lot of pictures because I was too busy just talking away like I usually do.
Well, good. And then the Gators had a big win.
They did.
Saturday.
Go Gators over in Texas. I watched the end of that game. I did not watch the whole thing, truthfully. And actually, I listened to it on the radio, which is sometimes more fun. I think they're, when you're on the radio, they're pro Gator, of course. So you're getting all the good Gator facts. But great win.
I think I watched a little bit of it. I don't know.
We're the football sports girls.
You can take me to a football game. I'm usually just quiet and just,
Oh, I'm not quiet. I'm usually talking to everyone around me, not watching the game. Again, that's just what I do.
I'll just be quiet.
But yeah, go Gators. We're proud of them. I'll be at the game this weekend at the last home game, right? Yep, the last home game, and then
that means FSU must be in
FSU. Yes, okay, yes, because that's always a fun game to go to. But I'm not going to Tallahassee for that. I don't usually. I did go to Tallahassee for college, and so that's a fun game for me. Yes, there is is it a hurricane?
It's a named storm.
It's a named storm. That doesn't mean it's necessarily a hurricane. You got our text, but thank you for bringing that up. It is Nicole, and Citizens has already stopped writing insurance. So as we know and learn what other Florida insurance companies will stop, binding and offering insurance, you really do need to get. Okay, we'll go back to that statement also, Sky. But you do really need to get your insurance. I'm not really sure you'll be able to right now. It'll probably take a little bit of time. You'll have to wait for Nicole to blow over. Florida was already hit really hard. Yes, pun intended, with Ian. But the hurricane it's not a hurricane yet, but the storm that's coming is Nicole. So good luck,
don't
everyone.
Your kids go to Tallahassee too?
I know, right? So Tuesday in Tallahassee. I call it Tallahassee. I did go to Tallahassee. I am from Gainesville. I wanted to get out of Gainesville. Tallahassee is a lovely country town. Great fun school. If your kids go there, don't blast them. They're doing anything they can to get out of Gainesville and still go to a good school. But I did stay Gator through and through. I actually have a really funny story about that, if you don't mind me telling it on the podcast.
I don't care.
So a lot of Gainesville people end up going to Tallahassee. We just don't want to go to UF, even though we grew up with the Gators around us. We have no problem with Gators. I'm wearing Gator blue today. Still love the Gators. I went to all of the team sports with my dad. He was just really fun to go with my grandparents, with everyone. Didn't go to as many football games as some of the Gator fans, but went to plenty of them. Anyways, I get to the first FSU football game, and I'm there at Doak Stadium, and I'm with a bunch of other Gainesvillians who have also joined us, and we go to do the tomahawk, and my hands immediately go into the Gator chomp, and I was just like, yeah, this is gonna be really hard for me, isn't it? And I did not realize it was going to be that hard, but it was. I tried to go to the basketball games, the volleyball games, and I just didn't love the colors that I loved at orange and blue, but I did stick it out at FSU. Had a great fun time, met some wonderful people. There you go. So, but I did come back to Gainesville. Yay, I came back to Gainesville. I know, right? We never know when these noises are going on, by the way. But yeah, I came back to Gainesville after 10 to 12 years away and went right back into being a Florida Gator. So sorry, FSU Seminole. I'm not a Seminole, but I'm not a hater either. I more hate the Georgia Bulldogs. Although
I look good in red,
I have a feeling
blue,
that Mason's going to end up going there just to spite. So I will have to, look good in red. Yeah, I'm blonde. I look good in red and blue. So I'll be good with that.
Yep.
Susan
Blue is one of
might
my
not
staple colors.
as much. So don't call it Tallahassee when your kids go there too.
All right. So last Gator game, and the Gators won.
We talked way more about sports.
No,
than we
that's
usually
okay.
do.
I love it. I think it's great.
Was I talking about sports or just?
I think we were talking about colors that look good on our skin tones.
Exactly. All right. Are we doing the election day coming up? Because that's the next slide up.
Okay.
That's tomorrow, mañana, people.
Yay! If you haven't voted, please go out and vote. The polls open at 7. I believe they're open till 7. Hopefully you went out and early voted because that is so much easier.
So much easier.
I voted last week. It was great. I've got my sticker. I'll post a picture with it tomorrow so that I could feel like I'm part of.
I left it on there and stuck it on when I voted last week, but then I stuck it into
to meet at the office and do an election
half
day
on my
post.
mirror so I could do it again, so I can learn again Tuesday. But yes,
yeah, but it's important.
Get out there and vote and use your voice.
If you have questions on how to vote, you can always message me. I'm happy to share my opinions. So
I'll share them too.
Yep. Yes, on single member districts. So that we can get good representation. That is, and I'll just tell you, what I like about it is that you're getting you're getting, sorry, my brain was ahead of my mouth.
That was the fast reverse.
I know. Pull it back. You're getting people that are in the area for the representation, which is why single member district is so important. It works for the city of Gainesville. People really like it.
Right. And, there was once the opposing party was for it. So, don't let politics get in your way.
Those politicians, they be tripping all over themselves, trying to reverse, flip flop. But yeah, so anyways, it's important. Get out there and vote. If you're in the city of Gainesville, remember, we're voting for hope and change this time. That means not voting for anybody that's currently on the city commission. And,
change it up.
Let's
make it better.
Hope. So anyway, all right.
Let's go to the Monday market movement because that's actually what was next up. I think we got a little confused there. All right, let's do it. All right. Here we are with our
perpetual state of confusion.
Right. No.
All right. So let's take a look at the Monday market moment for November 1st through November 7th. I can't believe we're already 7 days into November. My mind is like blown over here. Anyways, all right. So Marion County, you had 184 closings in the month of November so far, first 7 days. Pretty good. That's solid. People are working. And then Ocala itself had 116 of the 184 closings. So super, super good numbers, I think, for over there. I guess I would have to see how many realtors are in the area and then divide it to see but we already know top realtors probably did 90% of that.
90% of that, right.
All right. Hillsborough County. You're faring pretty well. The first week you had 469 closings. 205 of those were in Tampa, sort of Tampa proper.
Right.
Not the county specifically. And these watches, these things are annoying.
Updating you with all the text.
But also send good messages. So I do like that as well. Anyways, so Tampa, good job. All right, let's look at Alachua, which is our bigger market look. So what we're seeing in Alachua County, 36 new listings, which I'm going to call shenanigans on because I can't find them. I don't know where they are. 43 price decreases, or what we call improvements.
In the last month, week. Yep.
Yep.
First 7 days.
And then 54 sold
Not
or
surprised.
closings. That sounds about right. Back on the market, 16 with 2 price increases.
And remember, this is Alachua County. We're not showcasing all these numbers for Gainesville particularly, like we did on the other side. But yes,
Alachua County, this is including Alachua County. So a little slower, but if you're not familiar with our market, we do tend to be more seasonal. Yes. Different parts of Florida have different seasons. I grew up in the Tampa area. We have a whole snowbird season. I don't really feel like we have a lot of snowbirds in Gainesville.
No, we don't.
I was explaining that. I think it was to my mom. I don't know if she's watching, but if you are, Karen, please comment so we can make sure we talk more about you.
The Karen.
The original Karen.
The original Karen. Blonde and all.
Yeah, she is. But anyways, I was explaining to her that we don't have snowbirds here, which blew her mind.
Right, because it's so apparent down there. But I think you're going to see more snowbirds on the coast, and Tampa's right off the water. You've got Tampa Bay right there.
Oh, yeah.
And so, they're going to have that more tempered weather.
But we are in what we consider a slower time of year. We're in Gainesville. It will be slower until really about February, which is when all of the homes start coming back on the market. Right. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens because the Fed raised the interest rates last week since we've been on. So that's kind of running through the market. And then it's also traditionally slower on election years, even midterm elections. And so I just feel like there's a lot of, oh, yay. Hey,
Karen.
Yay. A lot of pent up anxiety over the market because you don't know. A lot of people have strong opinions on how the country's being run or not being run. So people are very concerned about the economy, what's going to happen policy wise. And then, of course, the governorship is up. So, he's doing his election stuff.
Tomorrow, right.
And, stuff like that.
Just causes a little pandemonium.
I'm hoping that it eases up a little bit.
Right. The midterms are tomorrow, so we'll see a bit of ease. But as you just stated, the end of the year, this time of year is kind of a slower time. Although there are going to be a few buyers really looking to close before the end of the year for the tax savings purposes for homestead.
Correct.
So you'll still see that. It's just you might not see a lot of new listings and a lot sold because again they're trying to get in before December 31st, on or before. Depending on when December 31st hits. I do think that's a Tuesday or Wednesday this year. Sure, you can correct me or...
I'm going to correct you.
I'm
doing it to correct you. No,
but I do feel like it is a weekday this year. I could be wrong.
It's a Saturday, which means you have to close by Friday.
I lied. So, you got to close by Friday, which is really hard. So you'll probably want to aim your closings for... the week before, right after Christmas. That always causes a hard time to close by the end of the year. Or, of course, before Christmas, you do have to deal with Thanksgiving, which takes a couple days off. Usually it's half day Wednesday, obviously off the Thursday of Thanksgiving, and partial day as well, or slow day on that Friday, the Black Friday. So just, beware of that. If you're still looking for homes, please call us. If you are, we'll be here to help you to do that and get in closed in the right time. So, yeah. There you go, the Monday market update. Let's see. Oh, we had our top producers of October. We're excited. We always love to celebrate our top producers. All right, so coming in strong at number 3 is Mike Rust. Give a big round of applause to Mike Rust. Yay! Great job, Mike. And number 2, Sky Mays. Look at you go, girl. Give another round of applause on our team and on this podcast as well. So tap yourself on your back.
Good job.
And Jackie, number 1.
Jackie.
Good job.
Good job, Jackie.
Yep, good job.
Good job,
3
Sky.
of you.
Good job, Mike. Good job, everybody
most
else.
Of them are consistently on these top 3, so you can tell these are some of our top producers. They work really hard. They answer their calls. They follow up. They do whatever they can to get that business. So you'll always see them going strong. So congratulations to all 3 of you Octoberians. Yep. All right. Let's see what's coming up.
Oh, yes, the 41st Annual Downtown Festival and Art Show.
Now, we love it because we actually have a booth there. So we have some of our team and our agents will be out there on the 19th and 20th. And you can come by, talk real estate, as well as look at art and hopefully buy the art out there. Yes, you could definitely buy a house through us, list a house through us as well for the girls and gals who are sitting out there for us. But as well as we do really want to support our local art scene and the artists that travel to come to the Downtown Art Show. And it's a lot of fun as well. So hope to see you there.
And the annual Light the Village is coming to Hale Plantation. We will be open in our office. We're inviting all of you and people you may know. And okay, sorry.
So I'm going to say this. I know that we look like alcoholics when we say for the Oktoberfest, come enjoy free beer. And then we also say come enjoy free wine.
I didn't even see that.
Not all of us are alcoholics. Some might be. Some are recovering. No, but we like to have some spirits there for you. We also have snacks for you when you come by. We do love our sphere of influence to come by, our past customers, our friends, our family, and just everyone. The Light the Village is an event event for all, and they will literally light the village. There'll be Santa Claus will be there.
Santa will be there.
Yes, and there'll be a little train. So we always open our offices during these two major events in the Hale Village. We love them. They're beautiful. We love people to come visit us and
the
spend
realtors
time
will
with
be
us.
there.
Yeah, and our realtors will be there. So it is Friday, December 9th from 5 to 9 p.m. So I hope to see you there. Sponsored by Landmark. So they will be, bringing the wine for you. So thank you, Landmark. We appreciate you.
That's right.
Yes, come by, Olga. You skipped out on us in Oktoberfest, but I know you like wine, so come by. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Today we're going to be talking about investments. So come back and have the investments talk with us. We'll see you in a few.
Welcome to the beautiful community of Arbor Greens. Located in Jonesville near the Tioga Town Center, Arbor Greens is a peaceful, planned community just outside of Gainesville. The development comprises over 200 single-family homes anchored by a spacious clubhouse, swimming pool, and tree-lined walking trails. The homes in Arbor Greens combine affordability, comfort, and luxury. Arbor Greens has amazing dining and shopping options in the neighboring Tioga Town Center, along with the Farmers Market in the Hale Village Center. The University of Florida and Shands Hospital are both conveniently located close enough for your daily commute. Arbor Greens is zoned for Meadowbrook Elementary School, Kanapahal Middle School, and Buchholz High School, all of which rank well and are highly regarded in Alachua County, one of the best school districts in Florida. Please visit buysellrebell.com to search for your new home in Arbor Greens.
All right, we're back. Thanks for standing by and watching our nice little video by Short Media and voiced over by Miss Rebecca Johnson. Beautiful voice. Love that you do it. All right, let's talk about real estate investing. So we have some tips, and there's some things that we're on these tips, but we're also going to talk about our ideas of these tips as well.
We're going to wing it.
We're going to wing it, but actually we're going to give our opinions, which you know what
we're never short of.
Right. All right. So choosing the market and timing wisely. I think it all depends on what you're looking for in terms of the way you want to invest. But what you don't want to look for is the hottest market. And I don't mean like right now is a hot market. You definitely want to invest in a hot market. But the areas that everyone is bragging about, talking about, sometimes you want to look beyond that. Because if everyone is investing in the same location, it might not be the best for you. Now it could be. If you have that income and the ability to find something, I would always look in the nooks and crannies, and I was always look at outside of that more so that you're not competing with every other investor. Because I'm going to tell you right now, we are getting calls from investors all the time because back when the market was hot, their buddies, the real investors made some money, and now they're all wanting to do it as well. But I'm not saying this market's not a good time to invest, because I think
I just bought a place.
Always are thinking of buying investments, whether that's stocks or crypto or EFTs or real estate, you will always find the right investments. Now, one thing that we know, what's the number one thing that we are always told?
The 1% rule?
No. Give it time. We'll get back to that.
Oh.
Give it time. Do not invest in the first place you see.
You might have to look at 100.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
And I literally will like mentally count them
Yes.
down in my brain and go, okay, I looked at 98 properties. I only,
Right.
I have 2 more and then I'll find the right deal.
Yes.
I typically operate off the 1% rule, which is pretty common. And that is, actually, I pulled the description of it. Let me
Perfect.
pull it up because I don't articulate it as well. It says a popular formula to help you decide if a property is a good investment is the 1% rule, which advises the property's monthly rent should be no less than 1% of the upfront cost, including initial renovations and the purchase. Blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
Anyways, so that's what I do. I basically, and I do feel like because I look at the rental market frequently in property management, I have a slight edge on that because I can look at a cricket club and say, okay, I know about what I can get for that, so I know I don't want to pay over X amount. So I think the number one rule in investing is you got to know the numbers.
That's the other thing I was going to say. You've got to know your numbers. And if that means you're not a realtor and you're not looking at this all the time, you don't need to become a realtor. You can certainly call a realtor. I hate to say this, or call a few and have them looking for you.
A few
but
Rabell agents.
Yes, a few Rabell agents. But you need to know your numbers. Your realtors unless they are good investors themselves, they're not going to know the numbers. You want to know and follow the numbers and follow the market. And you can very easily do this on Zillow. Zillow has made it super easy for realtors and non-realtors to keep up with the numbers. Check it out. Look, ask questions to your realtor. If you don't know that area and you don't know that, the rental market there, you will need to look into that.
Yes, and ways to kind of get an estimate on your costs. So let's say you find a property, the numbers work in terms of what you can get for rent versus what it's listed for. And I'm just going to use like an easy equation.
Sure.
So say you get it for $80,000 and you need to put $10,000 in it, and you're looking and you can get $1,000 a month. That is a solid investment.
Right.
But you also need to be able to kind of estimate how much work is going to need to go into it. And I am going to say, and put a caveat on there, you probably need to set aside like 10% or maybe a little more depending on the property for unexpected expenses. So
Usually
how do you...
they say 8 to 12%.
Right. How do you kind of learn that? Some of it you just learn through time or through help
Trial
of
and error.
others. But I will
really
say...
good mentor.
Lowe's has a great app, and you can actually get on, and I'll just put things in my cart. That depends on the HOA.
Typically increase. That does depend on the HOA.
It does. I have HOAs that I've owned in for years, and they have never gone up. Knock on wood. Actually, they do have an assessment coming. And then I've had HOAs that I've lived in where they go up every, year. So you're going to kind of have to look at the history, I guess, and see.
You do want to see the
and
history of the
then
numbers
look at
there.
the budget. Ask for the budgets. Ask for the minutes of the meeting. Minutes of the meeting are great because they'll tell you what issues are coming up in the condo or the housing community or wherever. And that'll be super helpful for you. Also, in terms of the numbers, so you're looking at your cash flow and growth potential, but location is important because, some people only want a walkability of 70% or higher, meaning there's lots of restaurants and employment opportunities around. So you do want to kind of be aware of where you're buying. You don't want to just buy because the numbers work. You need to know for sure if they're going to work because, look at your renter. Where do they work? How are they getting to work? Do they take the bus? Do they ride a bike? Do they drive a car? You kind of have to have a little bit of thought into it. And think about that location. Is it an up and coming area that you're aware of because you attend city meetings and county meetings? So you're kind of aware and familiar with what's going on?
That is really getting into it, right? That's good for you.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, well, they put these things online. So, and you can read the minutes. So every Rabell Realtor should be watching these. This is what I'm telling you all. Anyways.
Our Rabell Realtors that are on here, right?
And any other realtors and industry people and people who have interest in that. But
people
you should
interested
know
in investments.
Every county has a 10-year growth plan. You should know, is a Walmart coming?
Growing?
Is a Publix coming? If a Publix is coming, housing is coming. So where do you want to be around there? And kind of be aware of what's coming. We have a niche here. We have hospitals and the university. So in this area, you want to be there.
All of Gainesville will always be a great place to rent.
St. Augustine has a niche. You want to be by the water typically. I mean, I guess you could do the Old Town
Well,
thing,
that's why Hawthorne started getting hot because they have the lakes around. So people were buying and investing in Hawthorne and Melrose and a couple of the areas near the lakes, even if it wasn't right on the lake.
Right.
So
you want to be in areas that have a niche, basically.
Or that are growing.
Right. So you kind of have to do a little bit of investigating and digging. And I'm going to put this out there because I love her to pieces, but I don't care how cute a unit is. Run your numbers and look at the property condition, which is like the next item on the list.
And also remember, if you're getting your inspection or if you're doing the inspections, they're not going to come up with everything. No. So there will be times that your investment does not make as much as another investment has made.
Right.
There will always be a mistake. So just know that. Sky's fave is Hawthorne.
Hawthorne?
Are we sure
I think she's joking.
Right.
She's joking.
No, we know she's joking. She originally said she wanted Hawthorne, but I don't think anymore.
Hawthorne's too far away. Well, it's not, but
it all depends on the person.
Actually, I think I went to Hawthorne this weekend. I ate at a restaurant over there.
Maybe so. There's some cute restaurants. All right, let's go to the next slide.
Sorry.
So we think this is funny. Duh.
Oh, this is
Buy cheap. Yes, you don't want to buy the most expensive unit or house or whatever in the neighborhood. You do want to try to get a better price. Again, you want to know the numbers. What is cheap?
Yes, I think these terms are hard because it's relative.
What is cheap? Right.
Or what is your goal with it? If the numbers work, it doesn't matter if it's $1 million or $100,000. If the numbers work, they work. If you can float it financially, of course.
Exactly. Afford that. Yes.
I mean, property condition also takes in. I mean, you could buy something cheap, but
you have So let's go into this. Hold on. I have a really great example.
Okay.
Someone from California called me and said, hey, I want to list this house. It's been rented for 20 years. Well, I went in. It needed a new roof, new windows, new flooring, new bathroom, new plumbing, new electrical, everything. So the numbers did not work at all for me. I was thinking about it and I did the numbers. Did not work at all. Someone did end up buying it, but they're going to have to put 150, 200,000 into it. And I still don't think their numbers worked. I think they made a bad investment personally, but you want to really look what is cheap. There's a lot of things that are $60,000, but they need everything. It's almost a tear down. What is your example?
So a girlfriend of ours, she's in real estate. She bought a unit that burned down.
Right. Good for her.
She bought it cheap. The HOA is rebuilding, obviously, drywall in. So the electrical,
Remember
the
when my
plumbing
friend
and all
Martha's
that.
place burned down? She wanted me to buy it?
You know, and then she'll do drywall, cabinets, flooring, paint, fixtures. I mean, that stuff all adds up. She got it for like 20 grand. I'm like, that is probably a good investment. The HOA fee is going to be really high for a period of time as they recoup the loss from that. But, cheap is relative.
But again, right, it's relative to the numbers and to what you know or who you know. So if you are just starting off, you probably don't want to go with something that needs a complete, drywall, from drywall out. So you probably want to start off with something a little simpler than that. But if you're an experienced investor and you either do it yourself or people who can do it and you have great prices for them, all those numbers, something like that works perfect for you. It's all about your temper, where you are in this process.
And your tolerance for risk,
Exactly.
because
Temper,
all
tolerance.
investments are a risk. I'm saying that specifically because I always tell my mom that when she asks me questions.
Sure.
I'm like, if you don't have a high risk tolerance, you're looking for more of a turnkey property that you just have to put minimal work into, minimal being like paint,
Remember lipstick
flooring,
on a pig?
Right, paint, flooring, that kind of stuff. If you're more risk tolerant, then you might be willing to go in there and do a replumb,
right?
Which, by the way, those always cost more.
Way more because
way more.
You have the drywall they have to rip out and the repaint. Yeah, there's more.
There's more, and if you've got an older home and it's got
Even
vintage
more.
tile, you're going to be sad. But it's
that you can't
you
replace,
have to you have to kind of think about those numbers and those extra expenses, because I don't think I've ever had a rental property that didn't have an unexpected expense come up.
Exactly.
Or a
Every
personal
single
property.
one of them. Yeah. And don't get too much into that HGTV, because there's a lot of stuff that comes up. A lot of people wanting to find flips, and we're not just talking about flips here. We're talking about rental properties that are investments as well. But they want to follow the HGTV models, but
look, you're not fooling me with your painted cabinets. Those are old 1980s cabinets. I'm not buying it. You're not getting top dollar for that. I don't care how good of a job grandma did on them.
It's
not happening.
Lipstick on a pig.
Yes.
Anyways, all right, let's go to the tap into the hidden market.
I think this is great.
I think so too. Yeah. So what's the hidden market? Well, you know what? The good old drive-by, right? It's not going to be on the MLS. There might be some great deals on the MLS, again, according to your temperament, what you're looking for, but drive-bys.
I can tell you, if it's on the MLS, you better be fast.
Yes,
and
exactly.
a good talker, because and you better have cash. Because if they hit the MLS and I see them first, I'm hands down going to
most of
grab
the
them.
time, honestly, if it hits the MLS, it's because a realtor or the lender has decided not to go with that. So you probably don't want to do that. What do you do with the callers who call you saying, will you sell them your house or your investment property?
I always tell them the price. I'm like, here's my price.
Well, I've read some books and they actually, I think this is really interesting information that I wanted to share. They actually say, tell them that you actually don't want to sell your place, but you are a buyer, because they are usually wholesalers, and wholesalers, I have my own view of wholesalers. Good luck. But they do look for properties, and they are not the ones who are buying the property. They're trying to find the buyers for the property. So if you can get on their list as a potential buyer for their property and you can give them what they're looking for, they might find it for you.
That's true. I'm a big fan of the letters, door knocking.
Also, those little signs that are around, this is we pay for cash.
Yeah.
You tell them I'm a buyer also, because again, those are more than likely wholesalers trying to say I'll buy it for cash, but they have buyers on the other end, and not all buyers have the same temperament as you're saying. So I mean, I've had before I really, if a property is too much for me, in my risk tolerance, I will send it out to my main investors, and every single time one of them will buy it. I even had one where two of the investors were fighting against each other for the property, and they ended up selling it for way more because of these two investors. So you can certainly find, if you want to be an investment buyer and have these hidden markets, they are already doing your marketing for you.
That is
which
true.
Is putting up those signs on the side of the road, sending out the mailers, doing the texts, all that kind of stuff. So also, there's some networking. Well, we'll get back to it, the hidden market, because I think there's a lot. You probably have more too as well.
I mean, mostly I'm a letter stalkerazzi kind of.
There you go. Be that letter stalkerazzi. Yeah.
Write those. I have a program where I can do a background check and find just about anybody.
There you go.
With all their known associates. And then I just start calling everybody and telling them who I am and who I'm trying to find.
So you can be that person who's calling, texting, emailing as well. Networking. There's a couple of networking, what do you call them? Networking like groups in town that all get together and do this. And so finding those, becoming a part of it, and getting on those with them, again, you can tap into, you might be one of the many investors they send it out to, but if you have the temperament for it, you might be able to get it. And I would say those are probably for the ones with the higher risk, temperament, but, don't be shy, because you might learn a lot. You might actually get there. You're going to want to know a little bit of everybody: a handyman, a plumber, an electrician, someone to clean out the house, right? Someone to clean up the yard, someone to check the well and septic. You might need all of those. So with these networking groups, you will actually come into contact with all of these companies that other investors are using, and they're probably using them because they're better priced.
True.
So what else?
Understanding the market. Again, don't be completely unaware. You need to be self-aware in all things that you do in life. But if you're, putting money in, you probably really need to be aware of what's happening in the world.
Exactly.
Cool. Non-traditional investments, I think, is pretty interesting.
And that's the most exciting one.
That means not just looking for single family, residential,
commercial,
or yes, right. You're looking
spaces.
for commercial storage units, multifamily, think outside the box.
What about the thought, and I hear this a lot now, everybody's looking for multifamily, because
Right.
we all know, if you have more than one renter, if there's a space that's not rented, hopefully the other spaces are rented. But what a lot of people are doing, and I love the younger folks, I wish I would have done this, honestly, but who say, I want my first property to be a duplex. You can live in, that was my very first sale, was a listing that where the owners came from Atlanta. They bought a duplex. I won't say what neighborhood, because I was kind of shocked with the neighborhood, but they lived in one side and rented out the other. And that rental paid for all of their taxes, insurance, and they were able to take care of the property right next door. That's a great way to start it. You just, again, you have to be willing to live there right next to your renters, but it's a great way, especially if you're a little younger and need to start your investments and you don't have, kids to get in the way yet or anything like that. Or maybe you're older and wanting to start and you don't have, a huge life, and you can have a small place that shares the space next door. That's a great way to start, I believe.
agree.
A couple of other non-traditional is, what did you do with Troy out at Cinnamon Hills? You had the ice.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, the ice machine thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that was
Now,
an
again, you
investment.
need to know the numbers. They didn't know the numbers. That's why she said it wasn't a great investment.
I'm not being lumped
But
in
it-
with this.
But it was an ice machine, and I thought it was a great idea. And there were people who made a ton of money. Now, you have to put money into it, but it's literally an ice machine on the way to the springs. And people would go in and buy the ice. Now, you had to make sure it was working. You had to make sure that the water system wasn't off, because High Springs sometimes had weird water problems. If the water problems came up, you couldn't get the ice. But those are other great ways. ATMs in cash only restaurants. You know, what about that?
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So again, non-traditional investments still with that type. Also a lot of flippers, if you want to get into flipping, like to buy the property because of short-term capital gains. They live in the property for that first year as they're fixing it up, and then they sell it. And at the same time, they buy another one, move in, hold it for a year, because you do have short-term, long-term capital gains. And if you're not renting it out for a couple years, you are going to pay more if you're flipping. So a great way to learn the flipping world is to live in there as you do that and then sell it. And again, purchase your next one. So those are some non-traditional investments.
And dusty.
Yeah, sure.
Maximize your value. I don't really know what their thoughts were on that.
I believe in the idea of how you buy low, put what the properties around you have in it, so that you are keeping up with the value of the area or the neighborhood. So,
sounds good.
Did you read maximizing the value? Is that what it was?
Something like that. But yeah, so anytime you have questions, you can always reach out to the Rabell agents. But the most important thing is know your numbers, know your location, and know your Rabell Realty Group agent.
All right. Awesome. So hopefully you got some great tips. If you have any others, we'd love to hear them and post them. Next week, we're going to have Jody Red. I know it looks like Reed, but it's Jody Red from Sapphire Disinfection Products. He's going to come talk about, this is a great time to really get your home clean. And he's going to talk about the products that he has for hospitals, commercial spaces, and your home that you can use. He will even drink the product if I force him to, but he's done it before. So we look forward to Jody Red being on.
Interesting. And tell him how I like lung burn from bleach.
There's no bleach.
Okay.
It's what bleach is made of.
Okay, so if you are looking for a property manager, we're all full. I'm just joking. We are actually.
We are not.
We're not, but we are still taking on properties. So if you're looking for somebody to be your leasing agent, accountant, repair person, inspector, and landlord, we would be happy to assist you. You can reach us at 352-213-6410 after the show. The phone is in the car because Brandy's gone.
All right. There we go. If you are looking to join a team that has leads for you, please call us. If you're looking to get into real estate or move from another real estate company to ours, our lovely mid-sized real estate company in Hale, in the cutest corner in Hale, please call us 559-8820 or email join@buysellerrebell.com. We have a really fun team. We'd love you to join.
And if you can't get enough of Kristen and Rebecca and the entire Rabell Realty Group crew, real estate crew, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Google My Business, and YouTube.
You save yourself like the people who are like tripping, but then they pretend like they didn't really trip and they like dance.
Today.
Yeah, there we go. That's normal. It's all the day. All right. We do have a blog, if you didn't already know. We talk about it all the time. buysellerrebell.com/blog. Please join us. We've got events on there, local real estate, everything we've talked about on the podcast, and much, much more. So please come read our blog.
And we'd like to thank the Fiesta Media for hosting this podcast and all of our others. If you are considering a podcast of your own, please reach out to them at 352-327-5089.
Thank you. And join us next week. Like we said, Jody Red's going to be on, but so will we. So you'll get to see more Kristen and Rebecca in our fun, neurotic, slightly podcast now.
I just noticed there's a refrigerator over there.
And my fun faces that I make. So, all right. Thank you. Bye. We'll see you next week.